Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about a company you've probably never heard of, but one that is absolutely essential to the future of AI. We're talking about David AI, and they're building the sound of the future. Let's dive in.
I mean, you can't miss it, right? The voice era of AI is well and truly here. It's in your watch, your smart speaker, the video games you play. Heck, it's even how we're going to talk to those humanoid robots that are just around the corner. AI is learning to listen, to speak, and it's stepping out from behind the keyboard and into our world. But here's the thing. For any of that magic to actually work, for an AI to really truly understand you, it needs one crucial thing. And this one thing, it turns out it's almost impossible to get. And that right there is the key. It's this hidden problem, this huge bottleneck that was basically holding the entire voice AI industry back. And it's exactly what the folks at David AI stumbled upon. So, we all know AI models are hungry, right? They need tons and tons of data. For text-based models, the internet was like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But for audio, man, there's just no equivalent. The industry is basically starving. It's not just a needle in a haystack, it's a specific, pristine needle in a haystack the size of the entire planet. Okay, so let's break this down because this is the real heart of the issue. Most of the audio out there on the internet is what you'd call mono or single track. Just think about a podcast recording. You've got voices, music, maybe some sound effects, all smushed together into one file. What AI actually needs is the complete opposite. It needs multi-track audio. That means every single voice, every little sound is on its own perfectly clean, totally isolated track. It has to be captured that way right from the start. And you might be thinking, well, can't we just clean up the messy audio? And the answer is a hard no. It's just not good enough. These AI models are super sensitive. They have almost zero tolerance for what's called bleed. That's any sound from one track leaking onto another. That one little issue makes almost all existing audio totally useless. The only way, literally the only way, is to get it right from the beginning. Perfect, separated right at the source. So you've got this huge, unsolved problem staring the whole industry in the face. And what did the founders of David AI do? They made a bet. A really bold, kind of counterintuitive bet.
So the founders, Ben and Tor, they actually met at Scale AI, the data labeling giant. They get into Y Combinator with this kind of broad idea about AI, and they're talking to a company that's building humanoid robots. They go in thinking, okay, they probably need help with vision data or how the robot moves, but nope, the company's single biggest problem, their biggest headache, was audio. And that was it. That was the light bulb moment. They realized, whoa, this isn't just some niche issue. This is fundamental.
And this is where their whole strategy gets really cool. See, everyone else in the AI data game was going wide. They were trying to do a little bit of everything, text, images, video, you name it. But David AI, they did the exact opposite. They decided to go deep, incredibly deep, on just one thing, audio. They decided to tackle the hardest problems that, frankly, everyone else was running away from. And that intense focus led them to build a totally new kind of company, something that feels a lot more like a research lab than your typical data factory. Yeah, they literally call themselves a data research lab. So instead of sitting around and waiting for a customer to say, hey, can you get us this data? They're out there trying to skate to where the puck is going. They're researching where AI models are headed, trying to figure out what kind of data these future models are going to need, and then they go and build it before anyone even asks for it. And the difference here is night and day. Think about it. The traditional model is basically a service. A customer orders data, the company gets it for them, end of story, the customer owns it. David AI's model is completely proactive. They do their own R&D, they build these incredibly valuable data sets that they own, and then they sell access to that data as a product. It's a fundamental shift. So the big question is, did this crazy bet actually pay off? Well, let's just say the numbers speak for themselves.
It started out small. That very first contract with the robotics company, just $1,000.
But they learned really fast. By the time they were done with Y Combinator, they'd already closed their first six-figure deal with one of the big AI labs, a huge level up. And from there, things just exploded. A few months later, they're not signing six-figure deals anymore. They're signing seven-figure deals. The demand for what they were building was just off the charts. Which brings us right up to today. They just announced a $25 million Series A. I mean, if that's not a massive stamp of approval on their whole strategy, I don't know what is. So, with that kind of cash in the bank, what's next? It really feels like David AI is just getting warmed up. They're laying the literal groundwork for the voice-first world we're all moving into.
You know, it's that classic picks and shovels story from the gold rush. While everybody else is out there trying to find gold, building the flashy new AI apps, David AI is the one quietly selling the picks and shovels. They're the infrastructure. They're the ones making the entire gold rush possible.
And trust me, their plans are ambitious. They want to build the absolute best audio research team on the planet to stay ahead. They're talking about scaling their data collection by 10x and then doing it again. And of course, they're hiring the smartest people they can find to pull it all off.
Because at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple chain of events, right? The apps you talk to are only as good as the AI models behind them. And those models, well, they're only as good as the data they were trained on. David AI has put itself at the absolute bottom of that pyramid, holding the whole thing up. So as AI keeps learning to speak, and we start talking to our devices more than we type on them, you gotta ask yourself, who's actually building the sound of tomorrow? Who is teaching these machines how to listen? And it really looks like the answer is a small, dedicated lab that made a big, contrarian bet and went deep when everyone else went wide.